Hi everyone, welcome to Natural Wonders. Today I'm going to be doing an oil painting demonstration. It's for a subscriber who asked me if I'd do a winter scene. I thought it was a good idea, seeing as it's Christmas. I'm going to try and get it out before Christmas anyway. What I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to do a sunrise basically with a winter stream coming through, I think. So let's get stuck into that. This is my setup and the brushes that I'll be using for today. I always need a good old paper towel with oils especially, and we've got a pre-stretched double primed canvas, and I've actually primed it a couple of times myself as well over the top of that. So let's get started with this one. Right, what I've done is covered the whole canvas in a small tiny amount of liquid white everywhere, just a tiny amount of liquid white, and then I'm just going to go into the smallest amount of yellow, cadmium yellow, into that. Tap it into the bristles so that it's right in there. I'm just going to try that for now. My light's going to be here, my light source. So just around where the light source is, I'm going to apply some yellow, just in there. A very small amount, you don't need a lot. Just want to create a nice glow to it basically. Maybe a bit more just up in there. Bring a bit along the horizon. You usually tend to see that on a sunrise. That's good. Now it's mixed basically with the liquid white that's on there already. So all I'll do is I'll just switch to this light pink which I mixed. You don't need a lot of paint again. Just tap into that colour. It's a pink hue colour. I've made it with alizarin crimson, tiniest amount of blue and white. So with that, I'm just going to try it first of all. So I want it to be quite subtle. Maybe a bit more. I want it to be a little bit stronger. Something like that. Using little crisscross strokes to apply it. Little tiny X's. And then because I've blended it out up there, it'll now allow me to just come back in here gently and just blend that out. See how I've got a little hair there? Don't worry about that. As soon as I start running out of paint like I am now, I'll just go back in, pop it off the surface and get rid. There we go. So just blend that out. Bit of that colour. It's a nice colour. Just a little bit of phthalo blue mixed with crimson and white, and it's nice and vibrant. Now this is the brightest area, so just in here it can get a bit darker higher up. A little bit darker. A bit more paint on basically, is what I mean. Not necessarily darker. Just with the same colour, just a bit brighter. A bit more paint on my brush. Now a fun thing to do is to just tap into that, push, get a little tiny ridge up the front of your brush, and then just in here on the horizon, I'm trying to put some little clouds softly on the horizon in here, just where the sun's coming up, because that's going to allow me to put the sun in front of that, you see, just up in there, and then blend that out soft underneath. It's quite a subtle painting, is this? Very subtle hues. Again, I'm going to do a lot more paint now. Just over in here, look at that, tons more. Just up in there, allow it to blend out again with the white. I've used a bit more paint there on that one. All to the pastel colours at the moment, all of this. Using them little X's. My arm's aching already, so it's a good workout for you all, that's for sure. But them X's are really important to get a good blend, especially up in there. Now it's nice at this stage to just come back in and just bring a bit of that colour through into there. See if we can get a bit more colour on my brush. Yeah, just a bit of that and blend it in softly. I don't want it to come in too strong, I want it to be subtle, very subtle, but then bits of light that you leave, that's where the depth is at. The light showing through from underneath stands out just enough in these areas, and just in here it's good to come on and just put a little bit of colour in there too. Very simple sky is what I'm aiming for. A bit more of that pinky colour. Again, it's getting darker towards the top. And as it's mixing, it's constantly mixing with this liquid white. So you've always got to keep that in mind. It's going to get lighter than it is when it's on your brush. Blend that out softly in there. It's going to have some trees and stuff coming in at an angle, so I'm not too fussed there. That's nice. Now, just for the very top part, I've got this bluey tone here, and I've got this colour here. So first of all, I'm just going to try this on its own, see how that looks. Just up in here on the very top edge. I think that's pretty much what I was wanting, just on its own. And you notice I put it on first, apply the paint, and then as it starts to run out, like here, say, I want it to be dark in the corners. And then let it just blend out nice and softly into there. That's nice. Just enough to be a bit more gentle. And just attempt to blend that out a bit softer. That's it. Something about like so. Right, and then I'm gonna get some titanium white on my finger. And then just up in here, I'm gonna touch that. Plus sun coming up. Just in there. There. Don't have to be perfectly round, but once you blend it, that usually does the job. Very gently now, one hair and some air, just gently come up across that. Same at this side, very gentle. Don't destroy it, that's enough, that's all you want. I'm happy with that. Right, so over in here, standard trees. Some are further back, some are a bit closer. So I'm just going to start off with this darker colour tone that we used up there. I'm just going to tiny bit of black to that. So it's just a bit more muted. Don't want it to be quite so purple. And then a little bit of white in that. There. Just a little bit of white. Try that for starters. And then just up in here, I want it to tap just in that background area, and then tap below it gently, and it'll mix with the liquid white and give you a nice little misty effect for that. And then just gently lift up some little evergreen trees. Try not to lift up too high. These are quite a distance away, these. Just enough so that you can see that they are evergreen trees, basically. Like I said, the further down you come, the lighter it will get, and it will look so misty. I want it to look nice and misty just in that background. Happy with that. And then just in front of that there's going to be something coming, some trees coming through which are a lot closer. So I'll darken that off a tiny bit by just again a tiny bit of black into that colour. Push and get that little ridge. You don't need much paint for this. I'm not using a lot of paint at the moment. And then just up on here, we're gonna make it slightly darker. Same hue, colour, just slightly darker. Not a lot. And you notice I ain't coming to here because I want this brush to actually run out of colour. Bring that up into there. And then I can actually, just in this area, have some closer ones as well, which will be coming up across the skyline. So now I'm running out of paint. I'm going to come down here, in front of these. You see, it's not as dark as it is there, but it's still dark enough to act as a separator. Now we're after layers, you see, for depth. Nice depth in there. Let that blend away underneath. So what we've got is a layer of trees and then like a hill underneath where the mist in between. And I think that works, it works nice. I'm just going to grab the original colour, the blue on its own. Just get a bit of that. The purple, should I say. It's a purple, is this. And I'm just going to tap it out best I can back in here because I want to have some mist in there. And some closer trees will be shown too. Get hard with it, get rough with it. Take out all your frustrations when you're doing this. It's a workout. And then now it's running out up in here, picking up that liquid white. I'm going to go back into here and I'm just going to tap that up there and add it level off a bit. Very distant little trees in there. And then just gently tap, and that's more how I wanted it. This is getting closer to us now, so I want it to get darker still. So for that, I'm just going to go into some darker colour that I mixed. Put that into that. Two colours together, darkened off. I'll just do the same, push into that. So just up in here, it starts to get quite a bit darker. It's getting closer to us. And then up in there, we're going to actually show some trees. If I use the side of the brush like that, I'm going to show some little standing trees that are just showing on top of there. Using size that bristle up bush. just in there. But mainly, just want to tap. Just love the colours in this. They just really brighten up your world. Tap underneath that rigorously. It's far enough down for that layer. So I just mixed up a bit of a darker colour just in here. Same tone, just a little bit darker. Maybe a tad more blue in it too. So just up in here, I'm just going to indicate some of these little trees, make them a bit darker because they're up in here. Something about blend underneath that softly. Yeah. Same again. Pull out the paint, tap, push, and get a ridge. And you can work out just in here a few little areas where you want to have some trees with snow on. So I'm just putting the dark down at the moment for that. One there. That disappears off. I'm laying it out in my mind where I'm going to have the trunk and everything, you see. It's dark, but it's not too dark. There's not a lot of paint on there, so it makes it easier to go over and put some snow-laden branches in there, you see, which is what my subscriber was asking for. So she wanted to see some heavy snow. So there's going to be a lot of snow on top of this. Again, I'm just going to come in. I'm just going to put one in there. Smaller one. Maybe a little one at the side of it. And in here I want quite a few trees. Get bigger and smaller. They're not all the same size. Just into there. That's it. I want to be quite subtle and soft. And then down to there. There. That's good. So put them across there. Happy with that. Now, maybe, I know I'm going to have some big trees coming up here anyway, but just in case it shows through, I'm just going to tap some dark in for a average sized tree just in there. Put branches out for it. There, that's enough. Now I'm just going to use my fan brush and just some straight titanium white at the moment, both sides of the fan brush. And then maybe just up in here, so I've started the furthest part away, which is over in here. I'm going to put a little sloping hill there that comes down. Allow it to mix a bit with that colour that's on there. That'll be your shadow colours, you see, for your snow. Just down in there. And then just on the top edge, you can re-highlight that and pull it through to there. And then I'll just paint side to side and use them little shadows that we've got in there, although it's mixed a little bit with the colour underneath. Same with this here. I want it to come up and maybe just disappear behind that tree, just in there. That's good. And then something's going to disappear behind that tree, coming in front of this, into there. Use some of that and allow the shadow colour to mix in there. See, it creates layers then. If you use them shadow colours properly, you get some lovely layers. Leave some areas just white, totally white, where the sunlight's hitting them. Just got to think about shadows though, you see, like behind this tree and stuff. Right. Maybe just want to see a little bit behind it, in there, where it's come through. Just a bit of snow sitting down in there. And then what I do is I'll just come back to my big brush, get the darker colours, and get that little ridge again, and just paint that in front of it. There. See? Nice and easy. Don't mind if you go into your snow a bit down in here, because again it's going to act as a lovely shadow. Just blend it out a tiny bit. Just in there. Good. Now, where this is coming through here, I'm going to have a stream coming through. So I'm just going to use some good dark colour for this first. I've got a mixture of a blue tone, and then here there's a mauve tone. I'm mixing the two together, good and dark, so that just up in here I can work out where I'm going to have my little water coming from. I know it's coming from behind here. There. Just from there. So it's small at first, tiny. Allow it to mix with the white that's on there. There. And then just let it meander its way towards you. The fan brush is perfect for this because it gives you very thin. When you brush the bristles like so, it gives you a very thin chiselled edge, and it makes it a lot easier to do these tasks. There. Bit more of that dark into that. It almost vanishes, and then comes it up in here into fruition, and you can see it all. And as it comes towards you, it'll get bigger. Now I've got an area just around here, it is around this point, where I want it to go right in. There's a little area where it's pulled up, just up in there, and I just want that to be dark, with a few little outlets like so, because that's going to be just a little stretch of the river where, of the stream where it just meandered off a bit, created a little pool. Right, just a bit, a tiny bit darker, same as this is more or less. So I'll just come back in. once you got it marked out, you can do that, come back in and just indicate where you want it to be. Now we know that I know that that's got some snow in there, so I'll just leave it white where the snow's going to be. I'm just going to work some colour into there. And then it comes right out through into here. Use the side of the brush for that. I'm just working it all out for myself, how it's going to be and how it's going to go, where there's water's edges and stuff of that nature. There, dark. It's going to mix with the white and get lighter all the time, so just be aware of that. It can trick you. Now just up in here, I know that it's going to widen a tiny bit, so I'm just going to push out like so. And I have a few areas where there's rocks in here, and they'll also have some white on them, some snow settled down on them, just like that. I love painting these scenes. So much fun. Just a little snow in there. Just painting the scene. Where the banks are going to go. Where it's banked up with snow, just in there. I'm just painting around it a bit. And bring that in, allowing it to blend all the time. You'll have darker areas, lighter areas, just work with it so you've got a good variation of both. Right. First of all, you can just waft that in there and then just go side to side. We'll allow it to mix with that white. We've got quite a close bank that comes off to there, and then comes back out again to there. This is my imagination working overtime. I'm thinking like this. There's going to be a little snowbank in there, and blend all that in. Just another little area where it's meandering out, and then mark it out where I want it to be, just in there. So basically, I'm going to put behind that the dark. That'll be a little banking coming out into the river, into the stream.